Vicious and Volatile by Keary Taylor, narrated by Jesse Elwin. Chapter 17. I watch from across the street as Ophelia leaves the office building. It's the same one she left yesterday. 2 days in a row where she's stayed inside for a solid 8 hours means she's secured a job at the top law firm in the city. There isn't anything higher than this one. I asked Aries. I dug into them online. They weren't hiring. Every other paralegal there has worked there for at least 5 years. There's no way Ophelia should have been able to walk in there and get a job. But she's just like that. She can talk her way into just about anything. It still hurts that she won't talk to me. She hasn't answered any of my texts or calls, but I keep reminding myself that she needs time. It's only been 2 weeks since we plucked her from that nightmare. It's still raw. So I don my sunglasses. She doesn't need to know I'm following her, checking on her, making sure she isn't going to do something dangerous and rash, something vicious and volatile. I walk in the opposite direction down the street. It's a 20-minute walk, but I told Aries I needed some time to get my head together, and it just reminds me why I love him. He didn't get all protective or overbearing, saying I shouldn't walk alone or that Billings needed to drive me. He knows I'm capable, and that doesn't change just because we're together. The meeting is in Midtown. I'm not sure which one of them owns the building it's in, but there's no doubt that one of the 5 barons owns this beautiful high-rise. I pull the door open and head straight to the elevator. I only ride up to the 4th floor. The space the doors open to is beautiful. There are no windows. Fitting for 5 vampires with serious sun sensitivities. The walls are all glossy black, and all of the decor and accents are gold. Dramatic black leather furniture makes the place cozy in a very mafia-esque way. There's a circle of sofas gathered in the center of the space. Harry Kim is the only one here. He sits with one ankle crossed over the opposite knee, tapping away at his phone. When he looks up at me, he doesn't look surprised. He heard me the second the elevator doors began opening. He rises to his feet, though he doesn't extend a hand. He looks me over, but there isn't anything about it that makes my skin crawl. It's simply evaluative. "Lana," he says simply, "I'm glad you're attending tonight's meeting." "You are?" I question as I raise an eyebrow in surprise. I round the couch and take a seat. Harry sinks back into his own opposite me. He nods. "We've been needing a woman's touch ever since Cliff's mother was killed by that hunter." "Hunter?" I blurt, taken totally off guard. "There are hunters out there?" Harry nods, though he doesn't look concerned. "They surface every now and then. Humans with a vendetta against vampires. They're usually justified. Our kind can do some deplorable shit at times. But they arise, search for justice, usually don't find it. But vampires tend to be stronger, so they don't typically last long." "Cliff's mother was a baron before him?" I ask. It's actually kind of nice, getting this surprising moment alone with the baron I know the least about. Once again, Harry nods. "She formed the organization with Augustus. She'd been friends with the Steele family, but since we lost her, it's been far too masculine around here. Ares was wise to bring you into the circle, even if you can't have an official title as a human." I make an acknowledging sound, though I don't really know how to respond to that. Instead, I take it in a different direction. I didn't think the barons thought too much of women, with the whole breeding program. Harry lets out a tiny noise of annoyance, and it's hard to tell if he rolls his eyes or simply looks away. "Half, Lana. Only half of the barons care about increasing the vampire population in New York. As you know, Cisco has no children. I have no children. Obviously, Ares has no children. Yet. Giovanni was already married, and their children were all their decision because they wanted them. Him and Francesca. So really, it was only Augustus who took on the role of breeding stud, and Cliff. Though I think he actually hates his wife and kids." "That's sad," I say, frankly. "It is," Harry agrees. "But don't forget, you were brought into this world under the influence of Augustus, the one who cares about it most. He does not speak for all of us." "That's actually really nice to hear," I say honestly. I cross one leg over the other, my hands folded in my lap. I love Ares, and I've never respected anyone as much as I do him. But I was starting to think most other vampires are misogynists after all the shit Augustus has said. Harry shakes his head. "If I'm being honest, the role of Baron is damn near laughable. We're establishing influence in the city through wealth. We have sway in the government, so we can keep our kind out of trouble and influence laws that might make our lives easier. But there are so few vampires in New York, they don't need a leadership council. Why are there so few vampires here? I ask, my brows furrowing. From what I've heard, other places have a much higher population. Someone mentioned Seattle and Chicago. Considering the massive population of the city, now that I know they exist, I'd kind of expect New York to be crawling with vampires. Harry crooks a tiny smile, one that makes me think it's a tell of admiration. Maybe I'm asking the right questions. The vampiric population of New York has seemed to fluctuate throughout the years. This tends to be a place of violence at times, though. Gangs, religion, cultural groups, it's always caused an ebb and flow. I think vampires haven't felt particularly safe here in this city all the time. But when the Steele family was slaughtered, it caused a mass exodus that the city still hasn't recovered from. I mull all of that over. It's tempting to tell him that not the entire Steele family was taken out. I've now met Aaliyah and Duncan Steele myself, but Aries and I haven't discussed sharing the information about the houses with the Barons just yet, which feels like further proof of how isolated New York is from the vampiric world. Is New York safe for vampires? It's feeling like the answer is no, and suddenly I have to consider my hometown a little differently. The person I love most in this world is a vampire, and the city we live in isn't the friendliest to his kind. You think there are still threats out there? I ask Harry. To vampires? We still don't know why that uncle went crazy and killed the family. What if the reason is still out there? What if it's the reason there aren't more vampires in the city? It's something I've spent a lot of time thinking about, Harry admits. I like how honest he is without being overly dramatic. There's something soothing about Harry Kim. I didn't expect that from my previous interactions with him. It can get lonely in this city, with so few of us. To be honest, it's one of the only reasons why I bother with the Barons. I've often wondered what it would be like to move somewhere with a higher population. I've never cared for Chicago, though, and I'm not sure I'd fit in on the West Coast. I've never been to either place, I admit. Harry offers a small smile at that. He opens his mouth, about to speak again, but the elevator dings and we both look over to see Aries and Cisco step out. They're talking, and it makes something in my chest warm when I see Aries smiling and Cisco laughing at something he said. Just a moment later, the second elevator slides open, and Cliff and Giovanni walk out. Aries meets my eyes and leans down. "Hello, gorgeous," he says as he presses a kiss to my lips. His hand lingers at my jaw, his eyes gazing into mine. How did things go? I shrug, ignoring the fire that's lit in my lower belly. Fine, she's gotten a job. Doesn't look like she's doing anything to worry about. Aries nods and sinks down onto the couch beside me. His eyes slide to Harry, but he must not find anything to worry about with us being one-on-one because he doesn't say anything. Are we just bringing our wives to all the meetings? Giovanni asks, sounding annoyed that I'm here. I will have to let Francesca know. How about you just shut your trap, old man? Cisco says with a narrowed look. He sinks down onto the couch next to Aries. Lana's the shit, and you know she's helpful. Giovanni mutters something in Italian, but he just takes a seat, looking generally pissed off. Cliff eyes me warily as well as he sits beside Gio. Augustus isn't joining us today? No, he isn't. Aries jumps right into it, his tone low and with a hint of anger in it. He's the reason I called this meeting. Here we go. Every Baron turns his attention to Aries, none of them saying a word as they wait for him to explain. Until a month and a half ago, Augustus and I were estranged. Aries begins. He takes my hand, lacing my fingers through his. It almost feels strange that I can comfort a man like him, but his hold tells me that's exactly what he's seeking right now. Support, strength. Before that, it had been 3 years since I'd seen or spoken to him. I wasn't going to bend to his will, but I knew he was doing something suspicious. So, with Lana's help, we investigated what he was up to. Men do not get as rich as Augustus by doing everything above board, Gio says. I already liked him least among the barons, and now it gets worse. We found out that Augustus was trafficking humans and selling them to other vampires, Ares says bluntly, harshly. The room falls deadly silent. It feels as if each of them has come to an abrupt stop. Ares meets their gazes, and every inch of his face says he's dead fucking serious. He was putting on parties, though he never attended them. He was renting spaces, which is what made me question. It doesn't make sense, considering how much of Manhattan he owns, so we investigated. Aries looks over at me, and I see how much he hates that this is tied to him. I lost my best friend because of all this. Yet, if none of it had happened, we never would have met. He had a crew, Aries continues, looking back to the barons. They were taking people. He was then keeping them prisoner until he could sell them to a vampire. What the fuck? Cisco is the first to react, his words coming out confused and disgusted. Aries nods. When Augustus realized Lana and I had found his warehouse, he took Lana. Harry's grip on the arm of the couch tightens, his expression growing colder. He sold me to a vampire in Connecticut named Lawrence. I say, my words coming out hoarse-sounding. I was there for 6 days before Aries found me. I was his blood bag whenever he needed a fix. That fucking bastard, Cisco says, rage twisting his expression. Where is he? I will kill him. He rises from his seat, but Aries' free hand flicks out and he catches Cisco by the arm, stopping him. After I got Lana back, I killed him. Augustus is dead. Giovanni says it like a statement, disbelief coloring his words. Like he deserves, I say coldly, recalling how gleeful he was when he told me I'd be sold. It wasn't just Lana, Aries said, his tone cold. Cisco's jaw flexes, his entire body taut and ready to spring into violent action, but he sits back down. There were dozens of people. He was selling them for astronomical amounts. Any person who takes someone's freedom and life so casually and profits from it doesn't deserve to live. He stalls now, and this is the tell. This is when we evaluate each baron's reaction to this sickening news. Cisco has already proven himself a good man, but what about the rest of them? Something about Augustus always rubbed me the wrong way, Harry says coolly, a look of angry disgust on his face. But I never expected anyone was capable of this level of insidious selfishness. Harry gets clearance. Augustus was a powerful man, Giovanni says, and suddenly I'm on pins and needles. He made you a powerful man, Aries. There are many ways to further power. But taking people, selling people. Disgust grows on his face. Too far. May he rot in hell forever. Interesting. I wasn't sure how Gio was going to go. My eyes slide to Cliff Morgan. He's a quiet one. I haven't liked him from day one, but that's mostly based on his uptight, preppy boy look and his hesitance to make Aries a baron. Here is where he can prove himself. May he rot in hell. Cliff parrots Giovanni, but it isn't particularly convincing sounding. It's more as if he knows this is the appropriate response. My eyes narrow at Cliff. In my list of who I like most to least among the barons, he's officially moved himself into dead last place. Aries' hand tightens on mine, and I have a feeling the same thoughts are going through his head. I glance over at Cisco, who is looking at Cliff with narrowed, calculating eyes. If I had to guess, I'd say Cisco is plotting Cliff's demise right now. This will shift things in the city, Aries says, moving on. Thankfully, my father had a will. He owned far more of the city than I realized, but he left 50% of everything to me. The remaining half will go to his other children when they reach adulthood. For now, it's been placed in a trust that I've been appointed to manage. That easily puts you as the majority landowner among the barons, Harry says. That's a lot of shit to manage, Cisco points out. You sure you can balance all of that? Aries takes a deep breath, and I feel for him. It's not like he wants all of this. He didn't ask for it, but Augustus left it in his lap. I have a team. I'll need to expand it, but my property executor has really stepped up. We will get this under control. I eye Cliff. He's watching Aries with evaluative intensity. I want to know what's going through his head. I don't like the look in his eyes, like he's silently plotting a move. Cliff comes from old money, and his family owns a large portion of this island. I have no doubt he'd like to get more, but he certainly can't just take it from Aries. Fuck, I really don't like Cliff. Congratulations, Giovanni says. I'm pretty sure this makes you the richest landowner in the country for your age, Aries. That sounded like a genuine compliment. And shit, is Gio right? I look over at Aries, but it's not like a financial report is stamped on his forehead. But I heard what Regina Wick said. Augustus's net worth was over $20 billion. Aries inherited half of that. And then there's what he already owned on his own. Fuck. And then I've never considered that he definitely inherited a portion of Hunt Pharmaceuticals. Florence may be the CEO and run the whole operation, but it was their mother's first. There's no way she didn't leave part of it to her eldest child. And I felt squeamish about letting Aries pay a few $100s for the tattoo on my thigh. Aries gives no reaction to that statement. He looks back around the room. I don't know that this changes anything, but I needed you all to know what Augustus did and why he had to be eliminated. No arguments here, Cisco says, holding his hands up, a disbelieving look in his eyes. You did the right thing, my brother. Aries gives a small noise of appreciation. Any questions for me? Maybe powerful men don't like asking questions and looking like they don't know something. Each one of them remains silent. I appreciate you all coming. That's all I needed to say, Aries says. Cliff gets up from the couch and, without saying anything else, heads for the elevator. I think maybe we should keep an eye on him for a while. I don't trust him. You did the hard thing, Aries, Giovanni says as they both stand at the same time. Gio claps a hand on Aries' shoulder. The right thing. This city needs more good men like you, and fewer evil ones like your father. Aries gives a nod, and Gio strides off to the other elevator. I rise from my seat, and I'm surprised when I'm immediately pulled into a vice-like hug. Cisco wraps me in his arms. I'm so sorry you went through that, Lana, he says, his breath warm on my neck. Your man needs to learn he can ask for help. If I'd known, we could have taken that bastard out together. But I'm so glad you're okay. He releases me, his hands on my upper arms, as he stares at me. There's intensity there, and maybe even a little emotion. Cisco might be a wild card, but he is a good man. A man I know we want on our team. Thanks, Cisco, I say, and I mean it. Something warms in my chest. People. We all have our people. We all need a circle, those who will have our backs. And I realize now that Cisco has become one of my people. Turns out a lot of my people are vampires. I appreciate that. You should come over for dinner sometime. I will, Cisco says with a delighted smile. And then his eyes slide to Aries. But seriously, bro, next time shit like this goes down, call me. I appreciate that, brother. Aries replies, the last word said pointedly, but with sincerity. And I will. Harry rises from his seat last. I never liked your father much, if I'm being honest, he says as he slides his hands into his pockets. I thought you'd just be another him. Successful, powerful, rich. But you're more, Aries. And that's a good thing. It's not just Cisco who will have your back. Harry extends a hand. Aries gives a slight smile as he takes it, and they shake. Well, look at that. The circle just got a little bigger today. Chapter 18. 3 entire weeks pass uneventfully. Aries is frequently tied up in meetings with attorneys, settling things with the trust. He meets with each of the mothers of his half-siblings. It's all businesslike. There is no emotional connection between him and the others Augustus contributed DNA to. And why would he? He doesn't know any of them, and the next oldest behind him is only 16 years old. He explains the trust, sees what the financial needs of these kids are, makes agreements with their mothers, and that's it. I see a lot of James. Aries' assistant becomes vital now that Aries' portfolio just expanded. He's at the office, at our house, meeting us anywhere and everywhere. I'm still trying to figure out my role in this new version of my life. I'm not entirely sure what it is yet, but I feel like I'm on the right track. Finally, I make the call to Elle. On a gorgeous day in August, Billings and I make the drive up to Boston. I watch every bit of scenery go by as we drive. I've barely left Manhattan. Boston is only a few hours' drive away, but I'm surprised by how different it feels. It all seems older, a little more magical. There's something a little cozier about it than New York. Billings weaves his way into the city, and finally he pulls up to the curb of a beautiful park. There, just inside the gate, I spot Elle. Thanks, Billings, I offer, as I open the door and hop out before someone can honk at us for blocking traffic. I'll call you when I'm ready to go? Of course, Billings says with a slight dip of his head. I close the door, and he merges back into traffic. I smile as I walk through the gate, taking note of the sign that hangs from a post. Public Garden, founded 1837. There, waiting for me, stands Elle. She's about the most adorable thing I've ever seen. Her pregnant belly is round. She's dressed in a white sundress and wears soft brown leather sandals. Her blonde hair is left hanging down to the middle of her back. "I'm really glad you came, Lana," she says with her own smile as I walk up to her. Again, she looks like she's considering giving me a hug, but I can tell it's really not in her nature. I just give her a smile in return. "I'm actually really excited to be here," I admit. "I've never been to Boston." Elle practically glows as she looks around at the garden. "I moved here right after I finished college. To be honest, I didn't have any good reason to come here, but it just called to me. I think I get it. I've only been here for a few minutes, and it just has this certain feeling to it." We set out through the garden. It's beautiful, more landscaped and manicured than Central Park. There are statues of historical figures, fountains, a beautiful pond with ducks. There are dozens of people walking around, but it doesn't feel as chaotic as Central Park. "What did you study in college?" I ask. My curiosity when it comes to Elle Dawes is rampant, and this is the perfect opportunity to ask every question I've ever had. "Botany, with a minor in chemistry," she says as she aims us down the path like she knows exactly what direction she's headed, which she obviously does. "I went to Northwestern. It was kind of the only thing I ever wanted to do. In high school, I had this garden. I was already studying plants and their chemical reactions before I could even drive." I shake my head. That's about one of the coolest things I've heard about a teenager. The extent of most kids' chemical study is getting drunk at parties. Elle just chuckles. "That was definitely not me." "How old were you when you got involved in all this vampire business?" I ask, setting myself free with all the questions I'm dying to get the answers to. "I didn't know it until I was a little bit older, but honestly, I was born into it," she says. Something in her demeanor shifts. It goes darker, heavier. "My mother had been obsessed with vampires for a long time. She wanted nothing more than to be a born, but you can't do anything about that. So she had an affair while married to my father. My brother Ian and I look nothing alike, so we should have known we didn't have the same father, but we had no idea until he was killed, and very, very unexpectedly resurrected 4 days later. We'd had a funeral and everything." "Holy shit," I say, my brows rising. Elle simply nods in agreement. "But the vampires were a part of the picture from early on. My father was killed. Ian was actually a vampire hunter before he became one." Wow. Harry Kim mentioned hunters before, but hearing that Elle's brother was one is mind-boggling. "My grandmother was my legal guardian until she died." Elle moves on. It's like every sentence she speaks is a massive revelation, but she just keeps moving on so casually. "After that, Ian took guardianship. I was 16. I moved into the house at Conrath and was the only human living in the mansion." My eyes trail down to her arms as they swing at her sides. "Is that where you got the scars from?" She glances down at them, but she doesn't seem bothered by me asking about them. "The cross came in Mississippi, but the rest of them came later. I was always well protected at the house of Conrath." Every damn sentence, every single one is a story from this woman. To be honest, Aries and I just learned about the royals and the houses less than 2 months ago, I admit. Elle feels safe to admit the truth of anything to. It feels kind of impossible. "Your sister-in-law, she's one of these royals?" Elle nods. "Olivia didn't have any idea who her father was until she was an adult. She inherited everything. Came to Silent Bend. I love my sister-in-law with everything in me, but she sure knows how to make a damn mess." I'm not sure how to take that. Elle told me I remind her of Olivia. Do I make messes? "But she's probably also the strongest person I know," Elle adds, giving me some comfort instantly. "Everything she's had to endure, everything this world has put her through. She's grown a lot. She's amazing." Okay, now I feel better. We've circled a good portion of the garden by this point. On the far side of it, there's a road, and then a big park that reminds me a little more of Central Park. But we're pointed for the northern corner of the garden. There, across the street, I see gorgeous brownstone row houses. Boston really is beautiful and old. "What about you?" Elle asks as we step to the sidewalk and wait for the light to give us a crossing signal. "When did you get mixed up in this world?" "Just a few months ago," I admit. "My best friend went missing, and I figured out the party she went to was filled with vampires. I was trying to track her down when Ares first approached me. He tried to get me to leave, thought I was putting myself in danger. When I refused, that's when we teamed up. We worked together to find out what his father was really doing and find my best friend." The signal changes, and we cross the street with a crowd of other people, headed up a road labeled Charles Street. It's stunning. For a moment, my footsteps falter as I take it in. The street is filled with adorable shops and the most charming buildings ever. It almost feels like something that should be in Harry Potter. The sidewalks are uneven and narrow. The shop doors are of varying heights, some of them comically short, some of them sets of dramatic stairs. The windows give glimpses into beautiful boutiques or busy bookstores. It's wildly charming. Seems like it was fate, Elle says with a smile as she looks over at me. I've only spent a few minutes with the two of you, but it's easy to see how much he loves you, how much you care for him. I feel myself blush, but I'm not embarrassed. Elle isn't teasing. She's so damn genuine. I certainly never expected my other half to be a vampire. Elle chuckles and nods. Me either. Your husband is a vampire, I say, simply a statement, recalling the brief history James shared. Elle hesitates for just a moment too long. Lexington joined the House of Conrath around the same time I had to move in with Ian. We were around each other for a few years, but then I went off to college. I had been living here in Boston for a few years before we reunited. I take in Charles Street as we walk up the slight incline. It's kind of breathtaking. I've never pictured myself living anywhere but New York, but I can certainly see the appeal of Boston. We were having some trouble with the House of Alloway, and Ian decided I needed a protector, Elle says as we wait to cross another street. He sent Lexington here to watch over me, because he used to be a member of the House of Alloway. He knew how their leader thought. I suspect there's a whole lot more to this story, but there's an edge of pain in Elle's tone, so I don't pry. We spent a lot of time together, Elle continues as we cross the street, and Lexington wasn't the same bitter man I'd lived with before. He was light and carefree and easygoing, things I'd never been my whole life, and being around him felt— She hesitates, searching for the words. I'd never had feelings for anyone, but I knew I'd fallen in love with Lexington. There's a softness in her expression when she talks about her husband, and it's easy to see how much she still loves the man. But I don't get the chance to study her more because she suddenly turns into a building and pulls the door open. My eyes rise up to the sign above the door, and I read Oleander Apothecary. I follow Elle inside, and the moment I step through the doors, my eyes widen in wonder. There are shelves all around the small but cozy space, and each of the shelves is filled with beautiful bottles. Bottles of liquid, bottles of flowers, of crushed herbs, and it smells like a divine witch's paradise inside. What is this place? I ask in wonder. Elle is practically beaming when she turns back to me. This is my shop. I opened it just after I moved to Boston. Elle got her degree in botany and chemistry. She's studied plants since she was a teenager. Of course she owns a magical apothecary. I fucking love it, I say in wonder as I turn, taking it all in. Me too, she says with just a little bit of a sigh. Lana, this is Tiff. Tiff, this is my friend, Lana. I turn to see a woman sitting at the counter. She has pitch black hair and a septum piercing. She wears this pale brown duster dress and absolutely looks like this is exactly where she belongs. Nice to meet you, she says with a warm smile. You too, I say, wondering if this woman is human or a vampire. Elle seems to be surrounded by vampires at all times. Come on, Elle says, waving me toward a curtain blocking off the back of the building. The second part of Elle's shop stops me in my tracks, just as the first part did, but in a very different way. Behind that curtain is a lab. It couldn't be mistaken for anything different. But unlike Florence's lab, which is all high-tech and sterile, Elle's lab is cozy and far more witchy. Counters frame all four walls. There are shelves rising to the ceiling. There's a big work table in the center. It's all dark wood and textured walls. All of the modern equipment stands out in sharp contrast. Microscopes, bins of pipettes and beakers, Bunsen burners. While Florence's lab was filled with glass vials of clear liquid, Elle's lab has dried plants lying everywhere and brown glass bottles. It's beautiful in the most deadly way. Holy shit, the words breathe out of me. Elle, this is incredible. Thanks, she says as she pulls out a seat from the counter. She sinks into it and lets out a hard breath as she props her feet up on a stool. She tucks her hands under her growing belly and shifts its weight. Besides home, this is my happy place. You study vampirism, I ask eagerly, suddenly very anxious to introduce Elle to Florence. To a degree, but not directly, she says. She's watching me with interest, a slight smile pulling at her mouth. She's excited that I'm excited about her work. I mostly focus on products that affect vampires. That pops one of my eyebrows up as my eyes snap back to her. You don't survive life being surrounded by vampires as a human without a little bit of help, she says cryptically, a teasing smile on her lips. You hardly have to lift a finger to take a vampire down, do you? I ask as realization hits me. I tried for days to get the upper hand on Lawrence when I was trapped in his basement, and even though I'm trained in mixed martial arts, I never stood a chance. But Elle, she has secrets hidden up her sleeves. She reaches for something on the counter behind her and hands it to me. It looks like a dart. Take that. It contains a toxin that will take a vampire down instantly and keep them out for a few hours. Elle does, I say teasingly as I adjust the dart carefully. You are the most interesting person I have ever met. She just smiles and folds her hands over her stomach, and the gesture reminds me of what I want to ask her most about. You're human, I say, my tone growing heavier. Your daughter will be a vampire someday. That baby will be a vampire someday. The love of your life is a vampire. How? I struggle to form the question because I'm not exactly sure what to ask. How do you handle it, knowing the man you love is going to live forever, but you won't? She doesn't answer me immediately. She studies me, and I can see an entire lifetime in her gaze. She's been through so much in her life. She's experienced things most people can't even dream of. But in this I know she is one of the few in the world who can understand the turmoil I feel right now. It isn't easy, she says finally. Knowing they're different from you, knowing you have an expiration, but they don't. The world can feel so unbalanced sometimes. But I think it was easier for me, maybe a little. I'd been around immortals most of my life. I had so much time to get used to the idea of them living forever. I'm friends with a vampire who is over 2,000 years old. Fuck. From my understanding, the only vampire that old is King Cyrus himself, and Elle just called him a friend? It was hard, thinking about the fact that I'd keep aging, turn into an old woman, and Lexington was always going to stay the same. She moves on. That someday I am going to die, but he and my children will live on forever. Her gaze is so intense. It's evaluative. It's like she's trying to read if she can trust me, as if the future is written on my skin. I struggled with these ideas, she says, her tone dropping lower, quieter. But the world is a whole lot more complicated than what we see with the eye. My heart starts beating harder, faster. I lean closer, every ounce of my attention laser-focused on Eldaz. I'm not the only one who studies things related to vampires, she says. The look in her eyes is heavy, deadly serious. Lexington was a vampire for over 100 years. But some things can reset. Was. Reset. Adrenaline crashes through my blood as my brain tries to sort this new information out. Was. Reset. Lexington isn't a vampire anymore? I ask, the words coming out as an uncertain whisper. Elle shakes her head. I see it in her eyes, how critical and dangerous this information is. As far as I know, he is the only vampire who has been reset. But even though it's only been 6 months, we can tell. Lexington is aging again. No longer immortal. Holy shit. Holy fuck. This is huge. This is wild. This could change the vampire world. And be incredibly dangerous for those who know about it and for whoever made this cure. I trust you, Lana, Elle says, her blue eyes fixed on me. I haven't known you that long, but I know you. I can tell. This is dangerous information. The House of Marshals obviously figured it out pretty damn quick. But no one outside of the house knows. But I can see it in your eyes, Lana. Him being immortal and you not is eating you. So I want you to know, it doesn't have to be this way. You could turn Ares mortal again, I say in a breath. Not me, she shakes her head. But if it's what you both wanted, I could ask who can, and I'm sure they would do it for you. My heart is racing. This changes everything. This could be the answer I didn't know I was looking for. It could mean Ares and I could have a normal life together. We could grow old together. It isn't something to be taken lightly, Lana. Elle says softly. It would be a big damn deal. When Lexington was reset, it shook our whole reality. But the relief, knowing that we're the same. I see moisture glisten in her eyes. She shakes her head. I'm grateful every day. The air feels heavy and light at the same time. This feels earth-shaking, but wrong. Wrong. Why does it feel so wrong to have this knowledge, to even consider it? Think about it, Lana, Elle says as she shifts. My eyes go back down to her belly. 7 months or so. That's how pregnant I'd guess she is. And her husband has been human once more for 6 months. That baby in her belly is going to be born someday, and its parents are human. Holy shit. There's no rush, Elle continues. Just think about it. Know it's an option, and decide what is best for you and Aries. I swallow once and nod, a very large part of me wishing Elle had never told me this truth, but I can't exactly pin down why. Chapter 19. I end up spending the entire day with Elle. I would have stayed with her for days, picking her brain, learning more of her story, but she eventually needed to get home to her family. She never offered for me to meet them, and I get it. She's protective of them. She's shared a massive, important secret with me, but she will still keep them separate. She's a good mom and a protective wife. It's pushing midnight by the time Billings drops me off at home. I feel like I'm buzzing, electric with everything that I've learned in the past day. I feel alive with it all. And I understand something as soon as I walk back into the penthouse and Aries is there. As soon as I lay eyes on him, I know it. I don't want to make an exit out of the vampire world. Me asking Aries to take that cure for vampirism would make Aries human again. We would have no reason to be involved with the affairs of vampires anymore. It would make the most sense for us to pivot and create a very different life. I don't really want to change our life. I love our life. I feel like I'm in the right place, like I was meant to be a part of this world. So asking Aries to change, to no longer be a vampire, doesn't solve anything. It would change the basis of who we are as a couple, how we came together, and I wouldn't change that for anything. So as Aries crosses the space and wraps his arms around my waist, I know it without a doubt. I won't ask Aries to take that cure. It's nice to know the option is there, but I would never want Aries to be anything other than what he is. How was Boston? Aries asks as he looks down into my eyes. Amazing, I say, unable to fight the smile growing on my lips. And Elle is just incredible. Tell me all about it, Aries says as he guides us to the living room. He sinks onto the couch and pulls me down into his lap. I smile as I loop my arms around his neck. I do tell him about it, but I know it in my soul. I won't tell him about the cure. And it isn't that I want to hide anything from Aries. I don't know that I've ever hidden anything from him. But why would I ever put the weight of that responsibility that comes with the knowledge of the cure on his shoulders? I'm never going to ask him to take it. So I tell Aries about everything else, but not the cure. I feel incredible after my visit with Elle. I feel so much more solid in my knowledge of this world. I know what my options are. It almost feels like everything is perfect. But there's still a gaping hole in my chest. So when it's been just over a month since we brought her back to New York, I set out to Ophelia's apartment on a Sunday afternoon when I know she'll be home. I've rehearsed what I want to say about 100 times, but none of it feels right. I'm just praying it will come to me in the moment. So, with nervous, shaking hands, I enter the code for the main door. I take the elevator up to the 19th floor. I walk down the hall to apartment C, and I knock. That was so fast. Ophelia cuts herself off when she opens the door and sees it's me. You're not the Korean food I ordered. Nope, I say. We're going to talk. I push my way into her apartment, past her, and into her living room. There's nothing to talk about, Lana, Ophelia says as she turns, glowering at my audacity in barging in. There is, I say firmly. Can you shut that door? This should be private. She stands there at the door, studying me. The look in her eyes is hard, defensive, not a great start. But finally, she pushes the door closed. When she turns back to me, she folds her arms over her chest. Look, I wanted to start over, explain all of this from the beginning, I say, hoping and praying she will listen. I don't really want to hear your justifications, Lana, she says coldly. I fucking risked my life for you, Ophelia. I snap out, fixing her with a hard stare. You will hear me out. Now sit down. Her eyes widen at that. She raises one eyebrow at me, but she turns and heads for the couch in the living room. The space isn't huge, but it's practically new, and she doesn't have any roommates, which means she basically lives like a queen in this city. I pull over a chair from her kitchen island. I sit right in the middle of the living room. I take a deep, steadying breath, trying to clear my mind. I want to do this right. I want to make her understand. I want to fix this. After you went to the red party, I kept trying to call and text you, and you didn't answer. So I knew something was wrong. You wouldn't have ghosted me. Her expression darkens. She's been ghosting me for the last month now. It took me a minute, but I tracked down the date and location for the next red party. That's when I realized what the parties were for. Realizing vampires are out there definitely freaked me the hell out. But I still went to the next one the week after that. I was looking for you, Ophelia. I was asking questions. I was showing everyone your picture. I knew it was dangerous being there, but I wasn't going to stop. You've been my family for the last year and a half. Something softens in her eyes at that, but just slightly. I'm all she has, too. Her mom died when she was young. Her dad was never there. Her grandmother died. Her brother died. And her sister has been missing for nearly a decade and is probably dead as well. She might still have some extended family left in Chicago, but no one she can count on. But she's had me. It was at the red party that I met Aries, I continue, wandering into the dangerous territory that's torn us apart. He and his father were estranged, had been for 3 years, but he knew something shady was going on. He was trying to figure out what was happening at the party, why Augustus was throwing them but not attending. Aries saw me asking about you. He knew I was in danger, though he didn't know the purpose of the parties yet. He tried to warn me away, but when he saw I wasn't going to give up, he offered to help. Ophelia pulls a pillow into her lap. She doesn't say a word, just stares at me with suspicion and doubt. I let out a hard breath. Ophelia is one of the most stubborn people I know, and it's awfully annoying in this moment when it's directed at me. Aries knew his dad was doing something bad, but he didn't know what, and he couldn't do anything about it without getting back into Augustus's good graces. Trust me, there's a big, complicated story behind it, but he needed someone to pose as his fiancé to do that, so he made me an offer. I pose as his fiancé, and he would help me find you. That arches Ophelia's brow. She's surprised by this. The whole reason Aries and I ever met, had an interaction, is because of you, I say as my tone softens. I was scared at first. Of course I was scared, oh. I didn't know what to expect from him. He is a vampire, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. We had to sell it. The ring. I raise my left hand, displaying said ring that is still on my finger, this time with real intent. The new clothes, the new house, living together, it was all part of the show, so we could get back into Augustus's circle, so we could find you. I keep waiting for her outburst, for her to interject. She's never been one to hold back, but she just listens, her entire aura prickly. But I'll take it. I'm just glad she's letting me talk right now. It took time, I say. We knew Augustus was tied to the red parties, but we didn't know what it meant. But Aries started digging. He didn't go back on his promise to help me find you, not once. And oh, we spent a lot of time together. It was out of necessity to sell it for real, but we got to know everything about each other. He knows about Mom and Emmy. He knows about Dad, about how I lost the gym, my thing with blood. She makes a scoffing sound, which I'm not surprised by. She knows how I've always reacted to blood, the trauma response after seeing my mother and baby sister dead, their blood all over the apartment. I shut down at the sight of blood, and I pretended to be a vampire's fiancé. Aries is good, I say, the words coming out soft. If you give him a chance, you'll see it. You did see some of it. You were just delirious. I saw it every damn day, and over time, all that pretending became real. I did fall in love with Aries. I am in love with Aries. He treats me like a damn queen. I've never felt so cherished and worshipped. I've never felt safer in my entire life. And it's with Aries, a vampire. And I know I've said it wrong when, with the last few words, Ophelia's expression darkens. Does he still drink blood? She questions, her words cold. I hesitate. It feels like she's setting a trap. He has to. but he hasn't fed live in years. So he just takes invaluable donor blood from people who need it in the hospital, she says sharply. I close my mouth. What she's said is correct, but there isn't going to be any reasoning out of this with her. Does he still have fangs? She presses farther. Is he still predatorily fast? Stronger than you? Do his nostrils still flare when he has his lips on your neck because, to him, your blood smells so damn good? I should say something. I need to stop this runaway train, but this just hurts. Lana, I do not understand this, she says as her grip on the pillow tightens. You've been bitten, fed on. You were sold. Your basic human rights to yourself were stripped away by his father. These are predators. I can't fight my instinct to breathe or the fact that I need water. How long do you think he'll fight his instincts because he supposedly loves you? Not all of them are out of control, I snap. You've met, what, 2 vampires in your life? And only one of them is like that. That's like saying, not all men, she snaps bitterly. But what have you made your entire career? Teaching women to defend themselves against men. Because we always have to watch our backs. We always have to be alert. We always have to have our guard up. You've let your guard down, Lana. He saved you, oh, I shout, my volume rising. He put his whole life on hold. We spent dangerous weeks, months, trying to find you. It wasn't just me, it was Ares, too. Who was it who tracked down the records so we could come save you? Ares. 2 bad vampires, Ophelia, I snap. You've had experience with 2 bad vampires. But what about Ares? What about Cisco? What about Harry? What about Clementine? These are all people I consider my friends. Good friends who would have my back, and every one of them is a vampire. That just deepens the look of disgust on her face. So, you're just their bitch now. It would have hurt less if she'd slapped me across the face. I straighten. I practically choke on my tongue. Vampires kill people, Lana, she says, her tone low and ice cold. They torture people. They are predators. One kept me in a mausoleum for months. And you start fucking one, and suddenly they're your whole circle. She shakes her head, utterly disgusted. I can't believe you, I say. It feels like my entire body is filled with boiling acid. I am trying, oh. I am trying to help you be less judgmental, trying to show you that one bad, one horrific experience does not dictate an entire species, but you... I shake my head. I feel like I don't know who the hell you are anymore. Because the Ophelia I loved would trust me. She would hear me out. She would try to understand. Guess that Ophelia died the first time a vampire latched onto her throat and took away her freedom, Ophelia says coldly. I can't fucking believe you, I say as something bites the back of my eyes. I feel brittle right now, like with one little flick, I'd shatter apart. I dedicated my whole life for 2 months to finding you, and you just spit in my face because I fell in love. There's no being happy for me. No congratulations that I'm engaged to the love of my damn life. You're just going to shit on me and say goodbye. I see something flash in her eyes, like something is registering. I realize that it's the fact that I said engaged in present tense. Leave him, Lana. Ophelia suddenly stands. I lean away from her, but she walks right up and takes my hands. She stares into my eyes. There's something a little wild in her expression, and I've never seen her stare at me with this kind of intensity. You don't actually love him. Leave him. Reclaim your life, and let's get back to the way things were. Something in my stomach gives a little lurch. It feels like my body is filled with black sludge, but there isn't an ounce of me that's tempted for even a second. No, I say as I pull my hands free of hers. You're wrong about Ares. You're wrong about the rest of them. And you're wrong about me. That hardness creeps back into her eyes. Not everyone in this city is so enamored with the vampires. I hope that someday you'll wake up from this. But until then, she shakes her head and backs away from me a few steps. Stay the hell out of my life. I don't want to hear from you again, Lana. Cold. It's as if she's thrown a bucket of ice water on me. That's it. I can feel it. There's a cold finality to her words that leaves no room for doubt. I stand from the bar stool. I hold her gaze the whole time because suddenly it feels like I can't trust the person standing in front of me. Something feels sinister in the air. I back toward the door. You're wrong. About all of it. But at least it revealed one thing. Someone who can throw me away like this, someone who is so damn deaf to what I'm saying, isn't someone I want in my life. We stand there, staring each other down. I swear the temperature of the air has fallen 10 degrees. Goodbye, Ophelia, I say with hoarse words. I pull the door open and step out, nearly tripping over the food in a bag left right in front of the door. I close it behind me, and swiftly I walk back to the elevator. With every step, I shake harder. With each step, my vision swims more. The first sob breaks free when the elevator doors close, shutting me in solitude. I stare at my reflection in the polished surface of the doors. Another sob rips through my chest. It's over. It's fucking over. The one person who I thought would be there through thick and thin, who I thought would always have my back, has rejected me in the harshest, coldest way possible. And I know it deep in my soul. Ophelia Bennett will never be my friend again. Chapter 20. My feet feel like they're dragging as I walk down the hall, then unlock the door to the penthouse. I drop my bag by the door. My hands shake as I rake them through my hair, my vision blurry from tears I refuse to let fall. Ophelia's words are still playing on a loop in my head, sharp as glass. Stay the hell out of my life. I don't want to hear from you again, Lana. The sound of footsteps snaps me out of it. I look up and find Aries. Lana? His voice is low, rough with concern, and he's already moving toward me. Hey, is all I manage, my voice coming out rough and quiet. Aries closes the space between us in 2 long strides, his hand coming up to frame my face, tilting it up so I can't look away. His touch is gentle, but there's an intensity in his grip, a tension in his whole body like he's barely holding something back. What happened? His voice is steady, but there's a dangerous edge beneath it. I talked to Ophelia. Aries goes very still. And? His eyes have darkened, the protective edge sharper now. I wipe at my face with the back of my hand, even though no tears have fallen. She said she never wanted to see me again. The words hang heavy between us, like they're too ugly to say out loud. Aries' expression shifts. The room feels colder all of a sudden, though Aries' body practically radiates heat. He lets out a slow, controlled breath through his nose, like he's trying to keep himself in check. She said that to you? I nod. It was like she couldn't even hear me, I say, anger rising in my blood, like she'd already made her mind up, and it didn't matter what I said. How could she just... I shake my head. She was my best friend. His face softens slightly. His thumb brushes over my cheekbone, the motion gentle and soothing. And she threw that away, not you. I look away, unable to hold his gaze, but he tilts my face back to his. Lana. His voice is a little softer now, but no less intense. You're mine, my heart, my everything. I don't care what anyone else thinks. You're the best thing in my life, and I'm always going to try my damned hardest to be a man who deserves to be at your side. And if Ophelia refuses to see all of that, it's her failure, not yours. My chest aches, a fresh wave of emotion hitting me. I didn't think it would hurt this much. I know. Aries leans down, pressing his forehead to mine. I'm sorry you're hurting, but I swear to you, you're not alone in this. I'm here, always. I close my eyes, letting the warmth of his words settle over me. His lips brush against mine, soft at first, almost hesitant, as if he's trying to remind me how much he loves me without words. I kiss him back, sinking into him. And for the first time tonight, the ache in my chest starts to ease. He holds me tighter, his hand sliding down my back as his kiss deepens, full of all the love and passion he hasn't said aloud. It's grounding and overwhelming all at once, as if he's trying to wrap me in every piece of himself to shield me from the world. When we finally break apart, his eyes are still dark, still dangerous. But there's something else there, too. Something soft and unshakable. Come here, he murmurs, tugging me toward the bedroom. You've had enough for one night. Let me take care of you. My eyes lock on his as he walks backward down the hall. There's darkness in his eyes, There is always darkness in the eyes of the god of war, but darkness does not always equal bad. Sometimes darkness is honesty. Sometimes darkness is the raw truth. Sometimes darkness is devotion. I see all of that in the dark of Aries. As he steps backward through the bedroom door, he pulls me into his arms. His hands slide down my back, over my ass. He clutches me tightly. My head tilts back as his lips slide their way down my neck. His breath is hot, his lips are hot, his grip is hot. Fuck, I've never felt more alive than when this vampire's lips are on my throat. I feel electric, I feel godlike, I feel like the universe. My hands slide up his chest, tucking beneath his shirt, and he knows exactly how much I need my skin-to-skin contact. He reaches one hand over his head, grabbing the back of the neck of his shirt, and pulls it off for me in one smooth motion. I purr in pleasure as my hands rise over his chest. Aries' lips return to my neck. He kisses a soft trail down the right side of it. Between us, his hands slip to the button of my shorts. He undoes it as his lips shift to the other side of my throat. He gives my shorts a little encouragement, and they slide right off, down to the floor. Aries' hands cover my ass again, his fingers sliding over the silky fabric of my panties for just a moment before they rise to the button-up tank top I wear. He's less patient with it than he was with my shorts. His fingers hook into the fabric, and he yanks in opposite directions. The buttons pop, and the shirt falls off me to the floor. Aries ruins a lot of my clothes, but then it is also he who replaces them. Aries takes a step forward, causing me to take a step back. His massive hands splay across my back as he continues forward. The back of my legs hit the bed, and Aries cradles a hand to the back of my neck as he lowers me onto it. He kisses my lips softly as he lays me down. He tastes like home. He tastes like forever. He tastes like mine. He works his lips down the front of my throat and then presses them to the hollow between my collarbones. His hands splay over my thighs, slowly sliding up them. Aries' lips explore my skin. He takes his time. He covers my entire torso in kisses. He works his way down each arm, kissing every knuckle. His breathing comes harder as he kisses his way down the center of my stomach. My fingers lace through his hair. My back arches off the bed, desperate to eliminate any space between us. My eyes roll into the back of my head. I feel worshipped. I feel revered. Aries said he would take care of me, that he would make me feel good. He does so much more. With his hands and his lips, Aries, the god of war, sculpts me into Aphrodite. When I wake, it's morning. I roll over, my hand searching for a warm body, but all I find are cold sheets. I sit up, disappointment sinking in my chest when I realize Aries is gone. I shouldn't be surprised. Aries has been working an insane amount of hours since the will was read. He has an astronomical amount of shit to manage now. But I don't know, I kind of thought he'd be here, after how things were last night. Reaching for my phone on the nightstand, I pull it over. There are no texts, no calls. I put up the tracker and wait a few seconds as it updates with Aries' location. Oh shit, Aries is at Ophelia's apartment. I don't know how long he's been at her apartment, but I saw the barely contained rage within him last night when I told him how Ophelia hurt me. I don't know what he thinks he's going to do. I try calling his phone, holding my own to my ear. It rings 6 times before it goes to his voicemail. Shit. I bite my lower lip and shake my head. Aries promised he'd go to the ends of the earth for me, move heaven and hell. He's not a man of just words. He takes action. I don't know what good it will do, but damn, I love him for trying. I try to distract myself by heading into our home gym. Now that I'm not working at Valor Combat Sports anymore, I have to stay in shape on my own. I run on the treadmill for half an hour, cranking the music up, and then lift weights for another half an hour. I'm drenched in sweat by the time I finish. I check Aries' location one more time before I step into the shower. He's no longer at Ophelia's. He's at his office now. I'm not exactly sure how to interpret it, but I'll talk to him soon enough. I fire off a text to him that I'm going to meet him for lunch. He simply puts a heart reaction on it. The temperature of the water is burning, but it feels perfect to wash away the angst of yesterday. The tears I didn't want to cry, the tightness in my chest. I dress in black shorts and a tight purple top when I'm finished. I blow dry my hair, apply a bit of makeup, and check my phone. Aries is still at work. I used to have Ophelia's location, but she stopped sharing that with me the day she went back home to her apartment. I shoved that thought out of my brain and head out, locking our door behind me. It's a 30-minute walk from here to Aries' office, but I don't mind. The city is loud and busy around me. Locals, tourists, work commuters. They are all in a hurry to get wherever they're going. Cops take care of business. Sirens wail a few blocks over. The city is in full swing this time of day. I turn the last corner, and there is Aries' building. I realize now that I've been underestimating my fiancé. Now that I know how much wealth Augustus had, knowing Aries was well on his way to outshining his father, there is no way Aries doesn't own this entire high-rise. I shake my head as I step inside and head for the elevator. Growing up, most all my clothes came from thrift shops. We were the kind of household where I knew there would be 2 presents waiting under the Christmas tree, no more. While my needs were always met, it was always the bare minimum my parents could afford. And now I'm wearing an outfit that costs more than I would have spent on myself in an entire year. I'm wearing an engagement ring that could buy me a decent apartment in this city. We never expect the radical shifts in life. I never saw myself having any more money than I'd grown up with, and I was perfectly content with that. But my entire reality has shifted. I check my reflection in the elevator doors as I ride up, and I grin. I once asked Aries if we looked like we belonged together, and as always, the man stoked my ego in the very best way. Don't let that crown ever slip. You're Lana fucking Kincaid. Don't ever let the world forget it. With the expensive labels, with the new tattoo peeking out from beneath my shorts, with the fire in my eyes, I look exactly like I belong with Aries Hunt. The doors slide open, and I step out, heading directly for Aries' office. I push open the door, and Pat's head pops up. When she sees it's me, her eyes narrow slightly. She's been suspicious of me since the day we met. "How is your day going, Pat?" I ask, making my tone obnoxiously, overly friendly. Kill your enemies with kindness. "Fine," she says flatly. "Aries is in his office." "Thank you, you're a dear," I say, my words coming out just a little too fake-sounding. I walk past the desk, back into the office. It seems quiet in here today. I don't see James in his office, and Tom, the accountant, isn't in either. I do hear Lydia on the phone down the hall. I push the door to Aries' office open, and I'm filled with a mixture of emotions. Want, excitement, nervousness, trepidation, unknowing. He's on the phone when I walk in, but he wraps it up just as I'm sinking into the seat across from his desk. "I went and talked to Ophelia this morning," he states, getting it right out there in the open. I nod, acknowledging that I tracked him. It's nothing strange or new. We've tracked each other for nearly the entire time we've known each other. How did that go? His eyes darken, and he runs a thumb along his lower lip. Not great. She freaked out when I knocked on her door. At this point, I'm just glad she didn't try to stake you, I say, imagining worst-case scenarios. Ophelia is slight, but she trained hard in my class. He shrugs, obviously not sharing my same concern. I tried to talk her through it, me and you. I tried to tell her how I'm attempting to undo everything Augustus did, but she did not fucking care. Ophelia could always be volatile when she wanted to be. I'm pretty sure she was born with a chip on her shoulder. Sounds right, I say, based on her reactions to me yesterday. She tried to talk me into leaving you, he says, and the look in his eyes darkens further. She's kind of a compelling thing, isn't she? You're considering it? I ask, arching an eyebrow at him, even though I'm so damn confident in Aries and I'm practically delusional. Not even for a second, Vengeance, he says, crooking a smile on the side of his mouth. But she sure tried hard. When I didn't relent on that part, she literally shoved me out the door, told me not to come back. I curse, shaking my head. I'm sorry, Aries. Thank you for trying. With 2 fingers on his right hand, he beckons me forward. I rise from my seat and walk around the desk. He reaches for me, and I straddle him, each of my knees on either side of his hips. His hands settle onto my own hips, right where they curve into my thighs. It's me who should be apologizing in this situation. I never meant to come between you and your best friend. he says as he looks up at me, and I wrap my arms behind his neck. I shake my head. She gave up that title. Now she's just someone I used to know. You did everything right, Venom. And now we move on. Now we move on, he echoes as I lean forward, pressing my lips to his. And I know I've made the right choice, without a doubt. Over and over, I will choose Ares above all others. The intercom beeps from Ares' desk, and a moment later, Pat's voice comes through. Your lunch is here. Be right there, he answers back, even as he bites at my lower lip. I grin and climb from his lap, letting him up. He crosses to the door and opens it, walking to Pat's desk. I still can't get a hold of Tom, she says. Maybe he's sick, Ares suggests. And when was the last time you got sick as a vampire? She asks with annoyed exasperation in her tone. Right, Pat is human, but she knows about Ares, James, and Tom being vampires. Never, Ares replies. It's weird he's late, but I'm not going to worry about him missing a day of work until tomorrow. I'm sure he'll be back by then. Just a few moments later, Ares walks back into the office with a bag. He pulls the food containers out, setting mine in front of me. And for 48 hours, things are about as normal as they get. What do you think this is about? I ask as Billings drives us across town. It's dark out, the city glittering with lights. Cliff didn't say, Ares answers as he shakes his head. He holds my hand, brushing his thumb over it gently. An hour ago, Ares got a text from Cliff saying they needed to have a meeting immediately. Ares had to shift some things around. The man is ever busy, but here we are, loaded into the SUV and headed to the designated spot. Just a few minutes later, we pull to a stop in front of yet another new building. It's a constant jumping game when you're attached to a council of barons who are all billionaires with significant holdings in the most expensive city in the country. They should just pick one spot as their common meeting place. That would never work, though. Too many big egos. Ares takes my hand, helping me climb from the vehicle. He holds onto it as we step inside. Surprisingly, we do not take the elevator up. We head into the belly of the building until we reach a ballroom. A fucking ballroom. Of course, Cliff Morgan owns a building with a ballroom in it. The rest of the barons are already in the room when we walk in. I walk on in, but when Ares suddenly hesitates in the entry, I glance back at him. Something in his eyes darkens a little bit, and he looks around at each of the other vampires with something I can't quite read. Ares? I question. But he doesn't say anything. He takes a hesitant step forward, and then another. I see his shoulders relax a little bit, but there's still a tension in them I can't quite understand. What's this about? Harry asks. Everyone is just standing, and it's obvious they're all in a hurry to get out of here and back to their night. They're all very busy men. Cliff is white. No, he almost looks green. He licks his lips once as he looks around at the other barons. I went to my cousin's house this afternoon. He was supposed to get some work done on one of my buildings, but when I got to his house, I found... Cliff hesitates, and for a second, I think he's going to throw up. You talking about Mike? Ares asks. I look at him. I don't know who Mike is, but considering there aren't that many vampires in New York, and if Mike does commercial work, it's no shocker Ares knows him too. Cliff nods, pale as a ghost. When I went in his house, I found him torn apart. There's a beat of weighted silence. No, I think. Please don't mean what I think you mean. What the fuck does that mean? Cisco asks, his gaze darkening. Cliff's eyes flick to Cisco. Meaning, his arms were in one corner, his foot on top of the piano, and his head had rolled under the dining table. And his fiancée... Beth? Ares questions, horror leaking into his tone. Cliff nods. She was upstairs, ripped apart just as brutally. My stomach rolls. I think, Cliff says breathily as his eyes search the floor, though he's not truly seeing anything. I think there might be another hunter back in the city. Giovanni gives a curse. We haven't seen a hunter in 11 years. 3 members of my family, Gio. Cliff seethes. 3 Morgans dead. It doesn't seem like a fucking coincidence. Could a human really do that? I question. I've known some pretty damn fit and strong people in my life, considering I grew up in a gym, but I don't know that any of them could rip apart a vampire. Every single one of them look up at me, and the room grows heavier. Lana's right, Cliff. Harry speaks up. Your mother was poisoned and staked. If Beth and Mike were really ripped apart, it seems unlikely this was the work of a human hunter. Your cousin have any enemies? Gio asks, his brow furrowing. No, Mike was the best, Cliff says, growing a little more frantic. But 3 Morgans. How can it be a coincidence? People die, Cliff, Cisco says in a tone that says, calm the fuck down, bro. Being what we are, it's not always the safest. It happens. Doesn't mean it's connected. Cliff shoots Cisco a withering look. This is simply a warning, he says coldly. Keep an eye on your people. Stay alert. And without another word, Cliff stalks out. Ares tenses as he walks by. I didn't realize how much he disliked Cliff until I see something a little volatile flash through his eyes. But he simply watches as Cliff storms out. A few seconds later, we hear a door slam closed. Anyone else have anyone hurt? I ask as I turn back to the other barons. No, Giovanni answers gruffly. Nothing, Harry answers. Cisco? Cisco shakes his head no. So is Cliff just overreacting, or is this something to worry about? I ask. It ain't good if it's a vampire attacking other vampires, if it was unprovoked, Cisco says as he looks up at me. But we have no way of knowing if it was unprovoked. Gio points out. Cliff has always been a little sensitive. We stay alert, though, Ares says. We check in with our people. The other 3 nod in agreement. Ares turns back for the exit, and I follow after him. You okay? I ask as we step out the door, back out onto the sidewalk. Billings isn't here, but I'm sure he will be in just a few minutes. You were kind of weird in there. Ares blinks 3 times and shakes his head. Yeah, Cliff was just annoying the fuck out of me. It's been a long month. I think I could use a day off soon. I turn, cupping the side of his face, drawing his gaze to mine. Not soon. Tomorrow. You've been working yourself into the ground, Ares. His hand rises to cover mine, and his expression softens. His shoulders relax slightly. I'm sorry, Vengeance. I've been so damn occupied. I feel like I've completely abandoned us. I shake my head. You just got something massive dropped on your lap, but I'm worried you're gonna burn yourself out. Can you take tomorrow off? I see something regretful flash through his expression. I wish I could, Vengeance, but James and I have 5 meetings tomorrow. Disappointment sinks in my stomach, but I try not to let it show. I'm glad you have James. He seems like he's really stepped up. Ares nods. He has. He's been to more of the properties than I have. He's good. I offer a sad smile. Over his shoulder, I see Billings rolling down the street toward us. With something kind of heavy in my stomach, I climb into the vehicle, and we head back home. Chapter 21. I stretch out in the bed, but I have more room than I should. My eyes slide open, and I search the other side of the bed, but Ares isn't in it. The sheets are long cold, and as I listen carefully, the penthouse sounds empty. Ares? I call out. He's light-footed, just like all the vampires I know. But he doesn't answer me back. I curse under my breath. I might be patient and understanding, but for once, it would be nice to wake up next to my fiancé. We're supposed to meet Cisco and Harry for breakfast this morning, so I get out of bed and head into the bathroom to get ready. I'm dabbing on the last of my makeup when I hear footsteps walk down the hall before hooking into our bedroom. Ares appears in the doorway just a moment later. Good morning, I say, and my tone comes out a little cold and hard. Morning, he says, sensing the edge to my voice. His eyes study me, but there's something a little removed about it. You left early this morning, I say. A statement, not a question. Just some shit to take care of, he says. You about ready? Billings is downstairs. I look at him for 2 seconds longer than necessary. Do his eyes tighten? Does he look away? No, but something about his words feels like a lie to me. What business could he really have to take care of between the hours of 4-ish and 8 a.m.? I'm ready, let's go, I say. Neither of us says anything more as I grab my purse, and we walk out the door. I stare straight ahead as we ride the elevator down. I've been understanding of all of the demands on Ares' time for weeks now, but today, even yesterday, something feels different. Something feels off. Ares disappearing in the middle of the night on me isn't a habit I think I can handle. And I still feel like he wasn't being honest this morning. Aries slides his specialized sunglasses on as we step out of the elevator and walk out the doors. The black SUV is parked at the curb. Billings hops out and opens the back door. Aries hesitates as soon as he sets his eyes on his driver. He stops. I glance back at Aries, and I swear, even though I can't see his eyes behind his shades, something goes colder in his gaze. He narrows his eyes at Billings. What the hell did Billings do to piss Aries off? "Morning, Mr. Hunt. Lana," Billings says in greeting. He stands a little straighter when he notices the way Aries is looking at him. But Aries simply lets out a hard breath and climbs into the vehicle after me. The tension in the air is just about thick enough to cut with a knife. All three of us are silent as we work our way across town. Aries' fingers tighten on his knee as if he's trying to contain himself. He stares out the window at the city, never once looking away. I look away from him, something feeling sick in my stomach. 15 minutes later, Billings rolls to a stop in front of a restaurant only millionaires and billionaires can afford to eat at. Aries doesn't thank Billings, which he always does. He simply opens the door and holds out a hand for me to help me out of the vehicle. Stoically, he walks into the establishment. Cisco and Harry are seated at the back of the place, tucked into the darkest corner. They're both still wearing sunglasses. Poor vampires. I can't really imagine what that must be like, being unable to go out during the daytime comfortably. "Lana," Cisco greets me with a wide smile. "Always a good day when you're around." "Watch it," Aries says darkly as he pulls a chair out for me. Darkly, he glares at Cisco from across the table. "I don't like how friendly you get, Cisco." "Aries," I snap, my brows furrowing. "What the fuck?" Cisco's own gaze darkens. "Lana is my friend, Aries. Don't read something that isn't there." "You okay, Aries?" Harry asks with an evaluative look. "Fine," he says sharply as he drops into his seat. Cisco and Harry both look at me. I shake my head, giving a subtle shrug. I don't know what the hell to say. "My new club is opening up next weekend," Cisco says, moving on from the uncomfortable start to this breakfast. "You're all coming, right?" "I'll try," Harry says, which actually kind of surprises me. I didn't think he liked any of the Barons enough to hang out on the weekend. Then again, he is at breakfast with all of us. "You're opening a club?" I ask, surprised by the news. "Only my fifth," Cisco says with a chuckle. "But this one is special. All blackout, private events, themed drinks. It's gonna be wild." "Sounds fun," I say. And actually, it does. I look at Aries. A night of normal, of fun, of letting loose would do us good. "We'll be there," I say it as a statement, not a question. Aries looks down at his phone as a notification goes off. His brows furrow, and it's like he didn't hear a word me or Cisco said. "Aries?" I question, my tone turning annoyed. "Sorry, Vengeance. I have to take off." He leans over and presses a kiss to my temple and immediately rises to his feet. "Are you serious?" I balk, blinking at him as he moves around his chair. "Sorry, it can't wait," he says, and he doesn't even look down at me before he strides off back toward the front door. I blink at his retreating form 5 times, my mouth slightly agape. "What the fuck?" Cisco says. I look over to see an angry, disbelieving look on his face. "He really just walked out on you like that?" Something in me goes stiff. My stomach feels like acid. "What is going on with Aries lately?" Harry asks. He looks genuinely concerned. "He's been acting off for days." I shake my head. "I honestly don't know," I say around a thick throat. "He was working so much. Ever since Augustus's will landed in his lap, he's had a lot to deal with. But this—" I shake my head again. My jaw clenches. "That was just disrespectful," Cisco says with an angry, offended look. "You're Lana fucking Kincaid. What the hell is wrong with him, just ditching you like that?" "Who did he just leave to see?" Harry asks. The question is dark, like he doesn't want to ask it, but it's on all of our minds. "I don't know," I answer honestly, and I hate that for the first time. I really don't know who he rushed out of here for. 2 days later, I've just said goodbye to Florence and Clementine. I've been alone for 2 damn days, and I've been lonely. So they brought food, and we all ate together. We'd all called or texted Aries, asking him to join us, but no one had gotten a reply. Finally, just before 10 o'clock, 20 minutes after his sister and sister-in-law have left, the door opens and Aries walks in. My eyes immediately scan down him, But it isn't in admiration. Aries walked out the door this morning in jeans and a white t-shirt. Now he's wearing black pants and a gray shirt. Why the hell is he wearing different clothes? Aries kicks his shoes off by the door and walks into the kitchen. He opens the fridge and grabs a bag of blood. He downs it in 7 seconds flat, then tosses the emptied bag in the trash. "What's wrong?" he asks as he looks up at me. He stands stark still in the kitchen, as if all of his vampire senses are picking up on the very dark vibes filling our home right now. "Where have you been?" I ask. I stand in the living room, glaring at him from beneath my lashes. I fold my arms over my chest, probably a defense mechanism. "Where I always am these days," he says cautiously. "At work." I glare darkly at him. Feels like this is getting a little out of hand, doesn't it? His eyes narrow at me, and I see him trying to puzzle my frustration out. "Lana, I'm sorry things have been so demanding. I thought, why are you wearing different clothes than you left in?" I cut him off. He seems confused as he looks down at his clothing. "What do you mean?" My gaze goes colder. We've always been honest with each other, Aries. Please don't change that now. You were wearing different clothes when you left this morning. Why are you wearing something different? His eyes narrow once more. "Lana, what are you implying?" I don't say anything for a long moment. Something stings the back of my eyes. My stomach is a hard knot. I don't want to say any more because I don't want to make any of my fears come to life. "Tell me what is going on with you for the past week," I say, and my words come out rough. I hate that they sound a little bit desperate. "You are gone, constantly. You just up and left me with Cisco and Harry. You won't answer your phone. You have to change your clothes in the middle of the day. What the fuck is going on, Aries?" My volume and misery rise by the moment. When I'm finished, I suck in a breath, hugging myself tighter. "Lana, I am working," Aries says, his expression warring between confused and frustrated. "You implying there is anything different going on is insane." "No, what's insane is you pretending nothing is going on," I say. I turn and stalk down the hall. I close the bedroom door behind me, loudly, and I lock it for good fucking measure. Aries isn't home when I wake in the morning. I'm fucking devastated, but not surprised. I'm not going to wait around and worry all day. I head into Valor Combat Sports. Dressed in workout gear, I head back into my old work. The gym is familiar, comforting. Seeing old faces is nice. Larry, the guy now running the place, hugs me like I'm his own daughter. It's good to see him. It's good to see Garrett. It's nice to be in the space I spent so much time with my father. But I came here to take out my rage. I box, I punch, I kick, I beat the living shit out of the bag and myself. I'll likely be black and blue tomorrow, but it feels good to take out all of this anger and frustration and uncertainty. Larry watches me with worried eyes, but he never intrudes. When I can't take any more, I hit the shower and then dress. My fiancé might not have time to take me out anymore, but I can buy my own damn dinner. I go to my favorite restaurant and buy the most expensive steak on the menu. I get dessert, and I enjoy the hell out of my own company. It's pushing 9 o'clock before I head back to the apartment. I'm resigned to a silent night alone, but raise my eyebrows in surprise when I walk into the penthouse and see Aries' shoes tucked away by the front door. I head to the kitchen to put my leftovers in the fridge. I turn around to head into the bedroom when I notice something. The cupboard that hides our trash is halfway open, and there, on top, half shoved down the side of the can, is a white shirt. And barely visible, I see a bit of dark red. Looking up, making sure Aries isn't walking back out here, I pull the shirt from the garbage can. There is a splatter of something red across it. Dark red. My heart hammers faster when I realize exactly what it is. Blood. Aries came home and took off his bloody shirt and stuffed it in the garbage can. He came home last night wearing different clothes than he had left in. And as a woman, my mind started going to the worst-case scenario. But what if there is a different worst-case reason? I stuff the shirt back in the trash and head down the hallway. My hands are shaking just slightly. Whose blood was on that shirt? Aries? Or someone else's? I walk into the bedroom just as I hear the shower in our bathroom shut off. I stand there awkwardly between the bed and the door, unsure what to do, unsure what to think. A few moments later, the door to the bathroom opens and Aries steps out. He's wearing a pair of gray sweatpants and no shirt. Immediately, his eyes meet mine. In them, I see regret. Cisco caught up with me today, he says. His voice sounds a little hoarse. I see apology in his eyes. Practically handed me my own ass. Ripped me a new one. Lana, you thought I was cheating on you? Moisture pools in my eyes, but I refuse to let the tears fall. I don't say anything. I don't move. Aries' expression breaks. Lana, I would never, ever. I'm pretty sure every other woman on this planet has evaporated since I met you, because I haven't seen a single other one since I met you. His words reach a place deep inside me. The last week has been a nightmare, hell, but every single cell in me believes Aries. You are the end for me, Lana, Aries says as he takes a step forward. I don't take one back. There is nothing beyond you. I swear it. And I can't blame you for thinking this, for Cisco damn near ripping my head off. I've been an ass lately. He takes another step forward. Something goes worried in his eyes. He looks a little paler. I think I'm burning myself out, he says, his words again coming out hoarse. I can't even remember what I did today. That makes my blood go cold. I see it in his eyes. Aries isn't being dramatic. I see the exhaustion in every inch of his beautiful body. I see a man about to burn out. He doesn't remember what he did today. He came home with blood on his shirt. Lana, I'm so fucking sorry, he says, and he looks like he's 2 breaths away from falling apart. Come here, I say. I open my arms, pulling him into me. He tucks his face into my neck, his arms wrapping around my waist. He feels so bone-weary. He seems exhausted. He feels lost. And I know he's telling the truth. He isn't cheating on me. He doesn't remember what he did today. And something else is very fucking wrong. Chapter 22. Aries should have been home an hour ago. My hands shake as I walk out of the bedroom to the living room. Something is wrong. Something is so fucking wrong, but I don't know what it is. By the day, Aries' behavior has gotten worse. It's gotten odder. A pit is growing in my stomach. I pull out my phone and open my contacts. I stare down at Cisco's name for a long minute, debating hitting the call button. I swipe out of it, then stare down at Harry's name. I close the phone app and pull up the location app instead. But before it can fully load, the screen changes and Aries' name displays as he calls. My heart leaps in my chest as I answer it, pressing it to my ear. Aries, hi. I need you to come get me. He cuts me off. His voice is breathy, almost panicked. Can't be Billings. I need you, Lana. What the hell is going on? I demand, even as I grab my bag and make sure I have my keys. You can ride the bike, right? He asks. He sounds like he's breathing hard, as if he's running. Aries doesn't breathe hard when he's running. He's a damn vampire. Are you serious? I hesitate just before I head out the door. Please, Lana, he says, his tone pleading. I don't know where the fuck I am. My entire body goes cold. Shit. I spin around and grab the keys to Aries' motorcycle from the drawer. I dart out the door, slamming it closed behind me. Just stay put somewhere, I say frantically. I've got your location. I'll be there as soon as I can. Aries curses, and on his end, I hear a door slam closed. And then the next moment, there's the sound of running water. Then his phone must lose reception because the line beeps, and I lose him. Fuck, I breathe as I dart to the elevator. Desperate, I pull up the location app. It takes forever to load, and when it finally gives me a location, it was from 27 minutes ago, in Queens. Hopefully he realizes he doesn't have reception and leaves wherever he just went. I dart through the lobby, barely waving to Laz as I aim for the door that leads to the parking garage. It's dark down here, but I know exactly where the bike is. And it fully hits me when I stand right beside the monster of a motorcycle. I do not know how to drive this thing. I barely know how to drive, period. But Aries needs me. I've seen Aries drive this thing enough, been passenger enough. I will figure it out. I clip my phone into the holder on the handlebars. I yank the helmet down on my head, latching it beneath my chin. I straddle the bike and put the key in. Thankfully, it's nothing too complicated to get the engine roaring to life. Shit, this thing is heavy. It takes just about everything I have to lift it upright and off the kickstand. Cautiously, I walk it backward, and my heart just about hammers through its cage as I poise myself at the exit for the garage. The engine growls as I give it just a little gas. It lurches forward, dragging me with it. I squeeze the brake and slam to a stop. Okay, it's touchy. I try again, softer this time, more prepared for it to move, and steadily it crawls forward. I check the traffic and pull out onto the street, setting my feet on the pegs. As I wait at the first stoplight just outside our building, Aries' location finally locks in. He's still in Queens. The first few minutes are terrifying. Thankfully, the traffic is light. It's 4 in the morning, too early for the early birds, too late for the night owls. It probably saves my life as I wobble, stall, and turn the wrong way. But after a few minutes, the movements of the bike start to feel a little more predictable. I get used to its weight, the way it shifts during a turn. I figure out the gears, and finally, it feels a little like a bicycle. By the time I'm halfway to Aries, I don't feel like I'm 2 seconds from dying, only 10. I slow as I close in on Aries' location. It's a decent area. Rows of houses surround me before it gives way to a section of shopping locations. I creep farther along, just a few blocks from where it says Aries is. He walks out of the shadows of a garage, and every bit of my stomach disappears when I see him. His eyes are a little wild, a little frantic, and he steps out from the dark not wearing a shirt. As much as I enjoy seeing my fiancé shirtless, he certainly wouldn't normally be wandering around Queens without a shirt. Aries, what happened? I demand, struggling to get the kickstand down. Aries kicks out a foot and gets in place with zero effort. I climb off the bike, ripping the helmet off my head. I don't know, Lana, he says, and he looks scared, confused. I remember leaving the office. I was heading home, and then I woke up outside a gas station a few blocks from here. Lana, I have no fucking memory of how I got here. My eyes are wide, and I shake my head. I don't understand. Aries shakes his head, too. I don't either. Billings is off for the night. He didn't drive me out here. I don't even have my fucking wallet, so I couldn't pay for the subway or a rideshare. Either I was knocked out and dragged here, or I got here on my own 2 damn feet, and I have no recollection of it. Aries, this doesn't make any sense. I breathe. Something stings the backs of my eyes. I feel panic rising in the back of my throat. Where's your shirt? He looks down at his bare torso and shakes his head. It was gone when I came to. Lana, I don't. He cuts off when a police car rolls down the street. We can talk more at home. I think we better get out of here before I draw attention. I nod numbly. I pull the helmet back down on my head. Aries swings a leg over the bike, settling into the driver's seat. And just as I climb on behind him, I notice Aries' hands as they grip the handlebars. There's something dark under his fingernails, wrapping up around the sides just a little. But before I can study farther, because it's so damn dark, he grips the throttle and his fingernails disappear from view. I wrap my arms around Aries' middle as he gives the bike gas, rolling down the street. Something bad happened tonight. Something really, really bad. How does Aries not remember it? How does he have no idea how he got here? And what the fuck is that under his fingernails? My mind goes back to when he called me, to the sound of running water. What did he wash off his hands? But I don't get to ask him more questions. Aries takes off through the dark, directing us back toward the heart of Manhattan. We're just 3 blocks away from home when I feel Aries' phone buzzing in his back pocket. Once, then 3 times, and then it keeps ringing. When he's stopped at a light, he reaches back into his pocket and withdraws it. There's a missed call from Harry and then 2 texts from him. A former employee of mine, Felix, was found dead yesterday. Ripped apart, just like Cliff's cousin. We all need to meet, now. Aries lets out a curse. My stomach drops. I met Felix, just once. It was at a red party where I met Aries. He was a slimy flirt, but I didn't think he knew the real reason for the red parties. Now he's dead. Torn apart, just like Cliff's cousin and his wife. I'll walk home from here, I say when the light turns green. You're not coming to the meeting? Aries questions. He looks a little frantic when I state it. I shake my head. Not this time. You can update me after. I know something is wrong when Aries looks genuinely terrified that I'm not going to the Baron's meeting with him. He leans forward as I slip off behind him, tucking the helmet under my arm, and he presses a kiss to my lips. I'll see you soon, he says, but it comes out as a wary-sounding promise. Okay, I say shakily. As someone pulls up behind Aries and honks for him to go, Aries hits the gas and rolls forward. I watch as he takes off down the road. I pray it's in the right direction. that he's really headed to where he's supposed to be going. I pull out my phone as I walk back in the direction of our place. I pull up Aries' assistant and hit James' name. Lana? James answers, his tone a little surprised. Everything okay? It's no shock that he's surprised to hear from me. I've never called him before and have only texted him twice. Not really, I say honestly. I needed to ask you some questions. Was Aries at work all day yesterday? James hesitates, and I can practically hear the gears turning in his head as he debates how to answer my question about his boss, who also happens to be my fiancé. Most of it, except when he left for dinner with you. A curse falls from my lips. Lana? James questions. What is it? Me and Aries never went to dinner yesterday, I say, which maybe I shouldn't. I don't know what is happening. I should probably be protecting Aries right now until we understand, but deception won't help get this solved any faster. Has he been acting weird toward you lately? Another hesitation as James considers. Actually, kind of. I thought I'd done something to piss him off, but he won't say what. He's been tense whenever he's around. Another curse fires off in my mind. Lana, is Aries all right? James questions when I don't say anything as my mind reels. I don't know, I say honestly. Sorry, I have to go. I hang up before James can say another word. I scroll through my contacts again, and it seems like a miracle that I have this one saved. Aaliyah Steele. I hit call and press the phone to my ear again. It rings twice before it connects. Hello? She answers, her tone already annoyed and pissed off sounding. Aaliyah, this is Lana Kincaid from New York, I say, jumping right to it. We're still working through the record, she says, assuming I'm calling for a different reason. So far, we've recovered 11 people. Oh, I say, taken aback. That's great, but that's not why I'm calling. Okay, she says, sounding impatient. Look, I'm sure this isn't particularly kosher to ask, but I'm really fucking desperate right now, I say. I've reached my building, but I don't want to walk through the lobby and have the night doorman hear this conversation, or chance losing reception in the elevator. I've heard the history with your family here in New York, what your uncle did. I guess my question is, would you have ever expected your uncle was capable of taking out the family? What the hell kind of question is this? She asks, her tone cold and sharp. Please, Aaliyah, it's important, I beg. I feel desperation rising inside me. Was him killing all those family members something you ever would have foreseen? She's quiet for a long moment. I can feel her contemplation seeping through the phone. No, she finally answers. My uncle was a sweet guy. Never a day of drama in his life. To this day, I don't know what caused him to snap like that. If I hadn't seen him do it myself, I never would have believed he did it. I squeeze my eyes closed. Do you think it's possible something happened to him? Or that maybe someone could have convinced him to do that? There's something dark gnawing at my insides. It's cold, sharp. It's terrifying. Aaliyah is quiet again for a long moment. It would make a hell of a lot more sense than him just going crazy, she answers. This world is a whole lot bigger than we can see, Lana. Just because we don't have a reasonable explanation for people's actions doesn't mean there isn't one. I nod, and something pricks the backs of my eyes. My chest feels tight, my throat tighter. Thank you, Aaliyah. Good luck with the record. She pauses, thrown off guard that I would wrap up what should be a long, deep conversation so quickly, but I hang up before she can say anything else. I look down at my phone, debating what to do. Who the hell do I ask for help? Who do I tell? I don't want to put Aries in danger. I don't really know what's happening, but I know something for sure now. That was blood beneath Aries' fingernails. Aries did not go to dinner with me yesterday like he told James. Felix the vampire died yesterday. This is looking pretty fucking bad. I tap on the screen of my phone and start a text to the one vampire I feel like I can trust with this. Don't react to this right now, but something is wrong with Aries. I don't know what's going on yet. I need you to tail Aries when you're done with your meeting, and then I need to talk to you. I hit send, and it says it's been read by Cisco just a moment later. He looked like he was gonna kill Cliff the second he walked in here, Cisco responds. Brother's been acting weird as shit for days. I'll follow him. Fuck, I don't like this, Lana. Me either. Don't let him out of your sight. I look up from my phone, and a sense of absolute dread drops in my stomach. Chapter 23. Back in our penthouse, I wait for what feels like an eternity for Cisco to call or message. I heat up one of the meals our cook pre-made, but I get down 3 bites of it before my nerves refuse more. I go to run some laundry as a distraction, but of course, the house cleaner has already taken care of it. I end up changing into some workout clothes and get on the elliptical for a good 45 minutes. When I still don't hear from Cisco, I roll out a yoga mat and try to find some damn zen. Finally, an hour after I texted Cisco, my phone vibrates. Meeting ended 20 minutes ago. Aries isn't easy to tail, but he headed straight for Greenwich. He's been looking around this big-ass house for 5 minutes. Is it brick? Black details? Stone lions? Balconies? Yep. That was Augustus's house. Does it look like anyone is there? It takes 2 minutes before Cisco responds. No. Doesn't look like there's anyone here. I chew my lower lip, thinking it over. Obviously, he isn't looking for Augustus. I know he doesn't want any of his father's possessions. I don't know that he's looking for any particular documents anymore. What else could he be searching for at Augustus's house? Vampires. The ones who worked for Augustus. He's leaving. I'll follow him and update you soon. Thank you. I tap my phone against my hand, pacing the workout room. My brain is reeling through the possibilities, but it can't settle on what my gut is telling me. None of this makes any sense. I can't find a logical reason behind anything. Aries is blacking out. He's losing track of time. He's lying about his whereabouts, but I also get the impression that he doesn't realize he's lying. No shirt when I found him, blood beneath his fingernails. I lie down on my back on the yoga mat, scraping my fingers through my hair. I squeeze my eyes closed. Aries should be coming home right now. He doesn't have any sunglasses on him, and the sun will be coming up in less than 30 minutes. If he doesn't get home, he's going to have to find somewhere to get out of the sun, or he'll basically be blind. I pull up the tracking app on his phone. It loads and loads forever before it shows his location at Augustus's house 22 minutes ago. His phone must have died. Just then, a notification pops up. Fuck, I lost him. Had him headed toward the financial district, but when I went around the corner, he was gone. My stomach drops out. Another notification. I'll keep looking for him till the sun comes up, but we need to talk. Thank you, Cisco, and we do. Can you come here after the sun rises? He gives me a thumbs up. Shit. I can't think of any reason why Aries would be headed into the financial district. I can't think of any reason why he would be going anywhere except home right now, considering he has no wallet on him, no shirt, and no sunglasses. I pull up Florence's contact and type up a message to her. Hey, can I come over to your house sometime today? Something is up with Aries. It's 6 in the morning, so I hesitate to send it this time of day, but fuck it. This is important. I hit send and get up off the floor. 30 minutes go by and I don't hear from Cisco. I look out the windows in the living room, the ones that look out over Central Park. The horizon is lightening rapidly. There are already plenty of people walking around out there. Some of them getting in their early morning workout, some of them just headed to their jobs. My heart about leaps from my chest when there's a buzz and then a voice echoing through the penthouse. I've got a Cisco Sullivan here for you, Ms. Kincaid, the night doorman says. Want me to let him up? I shuffle to press the button for the intercom. Yes, let him up, thanks. My fingers lace and then unlace. I tug at the hem of my shirt. I don't know what I'm going to say to Cisco. I don't really even know what's going on, but I know I can't and shouldn't handle this on my own. Finally, there's a knock on the door. I yank it open a second later and let Cisco inside. What the hell is going on, Lana? He asks, his brows furrowed. He stalks inside, his eyes casually looking around since he's never been here before. I take it you didn't track him down before the sun came up? I ask. I click the remote, and the curtains close over the windows, dimming the space significantly. Cisco shakes his head. It's like he's being intentionally sneaky. I'm not too bad at tracking people, but tonight, he shakes his head again. Aries did not want to be followed. Shit, I breathe. My heart is beating faster. I want to deny it, but the pieces are falling into place too easily. How did the meeting go? Cisco watches me pacing in the kitchen. Weird, he answers honestly. Like I said, I thought Aries was gonna rip Cliff's throat out the moment he walked into the room. And Cliff didn't say a damn word. Even Gio seemed to be getting on Aries' nerves, and he didn't do anything either. I curse again. But Felix was found dead yesterday, Cisco says. The one bit of information I already know about the Baron's meeting. Same savage circumstances as Cliff's cousin. And while we were in that meeting, someone called Giovanni. His oldest son was just found, ripped apart. My body goes cold. Where did his son live? Cisco narrows his eyes at me. Queens? Why? My legs just about give out. I brace my arms on the counter before I can go down. Tears sting my eyes. I want to throw up. I want to curl into a ball and make the world disappear. Lana, what the hell is going on? Cisco says as he walks around the kitchen island. He grabs me with strong hands and helps me to my feet and into the living room. I sink into the beautiful chair in the corner. I shake my head, my lips unable to form words. Why? Why is this happening? Lana, Cisco says my name again, the word more forceful this time. My eyes flick up to meet his. Aries has been acting weird for the last week. I start. My voice sounds hoarse. My hands shake violently, so I clutch them together in my lap. He's been gone for long periods of time. He's not coming home when he said he would. Fuck. I really didn't want to believe Aries is cheating on you, Lana, Cisco says darkly, and the look in his eyes says he will get violent retribution for me. I shake my head. For a second, I thought maybe he was lying to James about where he was, what he was doing, but Aries has been missing chunks of time. Cisco slides his hands into his pockets. What do you mean? My stomach hurts. I feel anxiety climbing my entire body. Meaning, he thinks he's going one place, but he comes to in a completely different place. He doesn't remember where he is or how he got there. It's sometimes hours at a time. Cisco's expression slackens a bit. Aries knew Mike. I start voicing the pieces I've been putting together. Aries knew Beth. Aries knew Felix. Did Aries know Giovanni's son? Cisco thinks about it for a minute, and I see something turn worried in his eyes when he finds his answer. Luciano resurrected around the same time Aries did. Gio and Augustus were heavy on the procreating kick soon after. Luciano took what was basically an arranged marriage. He tried to talk Aries into doing the same thing. It's been a while since they've seen one another, if I had to guess, but they definitely knew each other. Another curse slips out of my lips as my head drops into my hands. I shake my head, feeling like the world is spiraling apart right now. Lana, you've got to finish what you started, Cisco says, his voice deadly serious. Say what you've got to say because I have a feeling we don't have much time to waste. I lift my head and know my eyes are bloodshot as I look Cisco dead in the eyes. Before your meeting, maybe an hour or so before, Aries called me. He said he didn't know where he was or how he'd gotten there. I tracked him with his phone, and I picked him up in Queens. This time, it's Cisco's turn to curse. Aries wasn't wearing a shirt, I say, my voice shaking, like he'd had to dispose of it, and there was blood under his fingernails. Cisco curses again, rubbing his hands through his short, buzzed hair. Aries is killing other vampires. Not just killing them, brutally shredding them apart. But I don't think he realizes he's doing it, I say, my voice rising. He's missing periods of time. He doesn't remember what happened during that time. I think that's when it's happening. I don't know what's causing it, but Cisco, I don't think Aries has any idea what he's doing. That doesn't even make sense, Lana, Cisco says, slight panic rising in his tone. People don't just lose their minds and start killing. Except it's happened before, I say, fixing him with a stare. In this very fucking city. Cisco stops suddenly, his eyes turning back to me. The Steele family. I nod. Their uncle went crazy, I say, my voice low, quiet. It was out of character for him. Something he never normally would have done. But something happened, and he did it. You think someone did this to Aries, Cisco says. He folds his arms over his chest, his gaze growing more intense by the moment as he processes everything. I shrug. I don't know, I guess. Do you know if anything else is out there? I mean, vampires exist. Is there anyone else out there with some kind of supernatural ability to control people? Cisco's eyes slide over to me, but he doesn't say anything, and it feels very weighted. Cisco, I say in warning. He doesn't say anything for several long beats. I see the internal debate in his head. I once knew this woman. She was from Chicago that could, no shit, call lightning. She got angry and the sky would fucking boom with thunder after the wildest lightning strikes. I still at that. That is a whole different level from what I was thinking. If someone like that exists, I don't know why there couldn't be someone who could control people, Cisco says, his voice tight. I lean back in the chair and feel my vision lose focus. Aaliyah said, "This world is a whole lot bigger than we can see, Lana. Just because we don't have a reasonable explanation for people's actions doesn't mean there isn't one. If vampires exist, why couldn't there be others out there? A vampire can turn any human into a bitten, and voila, they have supernatural abilities. Why couldn't there be more out there?" If Giovanni finds out it was Ares who killed his son, Cisco shakes his head. Lana, Gio is not a forgiving person. Even if Ares didn't have any control, Gio isn't going to take this well. My gaze rises to Cisco's again. Dread drops in my stomach. And Cliff might be a sniveling bitch sometimes, but he's tight with his family. He's been in this city for a long time, and no one should underestimate his connections. Cisco's shoulders are tense, his whole body wound like a spring. Holy shit, I don't know how we get out of this. I don't know how we fix it. We need to find Ares and bring him in, Cisco says. And I'm so grateful that I talked to him. I'm so grateful that he's got Ares back. We'll lock him up if we have to, until we can find a way to break through this. Till we find whoever did this to him. Thank you, Cisco, I say, my words as raw as my throat feels. You have no idea what your help means to me. He crosses to my chair and pulls me to my feet before he wraps his arms around me. You're the shit, Lana. We're family now. I know you'd have my back. I've got yours. Those 3 words make my eyes burn. My vision swims. We're family now. All of my family is dead. My mother and sister murdered. My father dead from a stroke. Then there was Ophelia, who I considered family, and she turned her back on me so damn easy. Cisco, the slightly manic wild card who looks like someone I should avoid, has my back. He's claimed me as family. And he considers me, a human woman, as someone who would have his back. Thank you, is all I manage to say. He releases me, backing away 3 steps with a smile that's so damn genuine I can't question him. You keep calling him. You search any places you know he might go. If you find him, you call me immediately. I'll be out looking for him. Text me a list of any other vampires he might know, okay? I nod and follow him as he heads for the door. He pulls some sunglasses from his pocket, but he doesn't put them on yet. We'll find him, Lana, Cisco promises. And we'll fix him. Okay, I say with a smile as he walks out the door. I close it behind him and pull out my phone as I head for the study. I sink into the chair as I start typing up a list of every vampire I can think of that Ares knows. It's not that many. I don't have to list all the barons, that's obvious. Augustus is dead. James St. Clair. Billings, Ares' driver. Tom D. Shit. My fingers hesitate as I type out the name of the accountant who works for Ares. My mind falls back to a conversation I overheard. Pat, the receptionist, said that Tom hadn't shown up for work, which was abnormal. Ares said he wasn't going to worry about it unless he didn't show up the next day. I don't know if he showed up the next day. I fire off a text to James. Has Tom been into work the last few days? It takes him 2 minutes to answer. No, he's been out since last Monday. Why? Shit, I breathe, and I know. I just know what's happened to Tom. I don't reply to James, though. I need to talk to Cisco first. I keep thinking of any other vampires Ares knows, and then send the list off to Cisco. I know it isn't a comprehensive list, but it would be impossible for me to know every single vampire Ares knows. And for a moment, I have to consider it for the first time. If we cured Ares, turned him back into a human, he couldn't keep killing vampires like this. My stomach turns at the very thought of it. I jump in the shower when I'm done, scrub myself down, then blow dry my hair and pull on some clothes. I check the camera at our front door, making sure it will alert me whenever there's motion. I want to make sure I know the moment Ares comes home. When I'm positive it's working, I call Billings with nervous anticipation. Lana. My entire body practically sags with relief when Billings answers after just 1 ring. Hey, I try to recover. Have you taken Ares anywhere in the last 2 hours or so? I haven't driven Mr. Hunt anywhere in 2 days, he says. Why? Nothing, I say, trying to divert. Can you pick me up right now? Of course, he confirms. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Thanks. I hang up and gather the rest of my things. I take the elevator down to the lobby and cross to Laszlo's desk, where he's working on sorting through the mail. Hey, Laz, I say as I fold my hands on the desk. Would you do me a favor? What do you need, Miss Kincaid? He asks. He's a smart one. He doesn't make any promises before he knows what he's getting himself into. Would you call me the second you see Aries walk in here? I ask, trying to sound earnest but innocent. Some things have happened, and he needs to know, but his phone must be dead. I'd like to know as soon as he gets home. Of course, he says, his brows furrowing. Everything okay? Not really, I answer honestly, but I keep my tone lighter. But I hope it will be soon. Just then, I see the black SUV park outside the front doors. I wave goodbye to Laszlo and walk out. The air conditioning is already blasting when I climb inside, which is fantastic. It's damn hot today. Where to, Miss Kincaid? Billings asks as I slip into the middle seats. This is going to sound strange, I start, but I need you to take me anywhere you take Aries regularly. Aries is missing, and I don't know if he's okay. Billings holds my gaze in the rearview mirror for a long moment. It's a heavy thing I just asked him. Technically, Aries is his boss, not me. But he's worked for Aries for some time, and I know he cares about Aries. So he rolls forward, merging with traffic. Chapter 24. Aries really doesn't go that many places. Billings takes me to a bank, no Aries. We go to 3 places Aries likes to eat. He isn't in any of them. We go to the office. No one has seen Aries. I'm relieved, though, when James is there and is unharmed. I should probably warn him to stay away from Aries, but I don't know how to word it without causing a panic. I'll text him soon. I check the camera at the penthouse as we cross town, but there's been no activity since I left. Billings and I drive to 2 of the properties Aries has visited most over the last few weeks. He isn't at either of them. I don't know where the hell he would be. Aries was shirtless. He has no wallet, so it isn't like he can just walk in and buy a shirt. He can't go buy some sunglasses. He has to be hunkering down indoors somewhere to escape the sun. But where? Finally, at 4 in the afternoon, Florence texts me back. Fuck, I never saw your text until right now. Can you come over to the house right now? Billings, we're going to Florence's now, I say as I text, be right there, to Aries' sister. It takes us a good 15 minutes to get there, but finally, Billings stops at the curb. I might be a while, I say as I climb out. I'll call you when I'm finished here. But if Aries calls you and asks you to drive him anywhere, you need to tell him the car is having problems and you can't. This is important, Billings. Worry and confusion creep onto his face, but Billings simply nods, and he drives off when I close the door. I walk up to the front door, my eyes rising to the stone plaque above it, the one that reads, Hunt House, established 1907. Just as I'm about to knock, it opens, and a very concerned Florence stands there. You don't need to knock, Lana, you're family, she says, her tone absolutely serious, as if this is just a simple fact I should already know. Again, my chest tugs. Yesterday, I only had Aries. Today, I have Cisco and Florence, too. She ushers me inside, and there in the entryway stands Clementine as well. Florence waves us into her office. What's going on? Florence asks, getting right to it. It's what I love so much about her. She doesn't beat around the bush. She's direct without being cold. And so I start explaining it all. How Aries has been acting strange, especially toward vampires. How he's been lying about where he's going. How he can't seem to remember where he's been. And then our bizarre encounter in Queens. I tell her about the vampires who have been ripped apart. And as I do, I recall how Aries took care of Lawrence. Fuck. Aries ripped Lawrence to pieces. Just like how Mike and Beth and Felix and Luciano were found. I tell Florence everything. All the same details I told Cisco, with the addition of my realization. I spill every last bit of it. Do you know anyone who is capable of making him do something like this? I ask at the end of it all, my tone sounding desperate. Florence's gaze is unfocused as she racks her brain. My gaze flicks to Clementine. I don't, she confesses. I'm not sure I even think that's possible. Aries would never do this on his own, I snap, the first harsh words I've ever said toward the sweet woman. That's not what I was trying to say, Lana, Clementine says calmly. The statistical probability that vampires are the only supernatural beings out there is very low, Florence says. I can practically see the gears turning in her head. Her gaze focuses again. If vampires exist at all, that nearly guarantees there are other anomalies out there as well. And if you think about how well the vampires have kept themselves hidden, for thousands of years apparently, Why couldn't these other types keep themselves unknown as well? But how do we suss them out? I ask, feeling a little bit desperate. How do we find this person who has hidden themselves? And why the hell would they target Ares? I feel more frantic by the moment. Maybe I could break it if I could get Ares back to the lab, Florence says. She's breathing a little harder. Of course, my mind immediately goes to Elle's lab and the possibilities she offers, but Florence pushes on. I mean, it's a long shot, but if it was put in him, why couldn't it be taken out? Perfect, I say as I once more pull my phone out of my pocket. If we could find him. I pull up the tracking app, and it still reads his last location as early this morning. I check the doorbell again, but there still hasn't been any motion. My phone starts buzzing, Cisco's name filling the screen that he's calling. But before I can answer it, someone pounds on the door. All three of our heads whip toward it. And the next moment, the entire front door blasts open, wood splintering through the air, the hinges groaning against the violence. Giovanni barrels through the front door, standing in the entryway, his chest heaving with rage. Lana, you're here as well, Gio says. There's something savage, feral, vengeful in his eyes. He takes a step forward. Even better, a love for a love. He stalks across the entry to the opening of Florence's office. I stagger to my feet at the same time Florence does. Clementine's eyes flash yellow, the first time I've ever seen that color instead of red. Why did he do it? Gio snarls. My son did nothing to him. Hasn't spoken to Ares in years. Why? His volume increases with each word spoken. Gio, I don't know what's wrong with Ares, but he... My son, Giovanni cuts me off. My eldest son. He is dead, shredded like an animal, by Ares. Gio is practically shaking with rage. Clementine takes a step forward, but it's almost laughable. I'm sure as a bitten she's stronger than I am, but Gio is not a small man, and he is a born. Gio, I'm so sorry, I say, holding my hands up. The violence is radiating off of him. Whatever my brother has done, surely we can work this out, Florence says. She's using her business voice, the one that radiates confidence and calm. His eyes snap to her, and they flash red. I know you want revenge, Gio, I say, my words coming out in a rush as I try to talk the man down. But we need to figure this out. There's more. No. Gio cuts me off again. There is no reconciliation. There is only an eye for an eye. Pain slices through my body. I take in one gasping, ragged breath as my eyes flare wide. Gio stands right before me, his face only 3 inches away. A love for a love. A scream rips through the room, and in the next instant, Gio disappears in a blink. Clementine moves so fast I can hardly see her, chasing after Giovanni. Lana, Florence says as my knees start to collapse. She wraps her arms around me, trying to catch me, trying to help lower me to the floor. Holy shit, Lana! Pain radiates through me in never-ending waves. I try to suck in some air, but it comes out as a gasp. My eyes slide down. There is a knife sticking out of my belly. There is a cut line rising up from it, over my belly button, up between my breasts, up the center of my throat. Blood. There is so much blood, and it's mine. Not my sister's, splattered all over the kitchen. Not my mother's, staining the rug. It's my blood this time that is pouring onto the floor. Floor. The words won't fully work. Something shifts in my stomach, and I feel a wet mass trying to bulge out of me. My vision goes blurry as the pain overwhelms me. My whole body feels slack. Lana, Florence says desperately, but her voice is sounding farther away. Lana, stay with me. Fuck, Lana, you cannot die on me. But I feel something escape my body. I feel like a river is cascading from my gut. Everything is blinking in and out. Black, the ceiling. Black, the ceiling. I hear curses and desperate calls, and then Clementine's inhumanly strong arms wrap around me, and the pain is so agonizing I black out for a while. She will die, I hear words at some point. A hospital cannot fix this. I cannot just let her die on us, on Ares, no matter what he's doing right now. More darkness, more agony. I'm jostled, and the pain is searing white hot. Lights flash overhead. Something dings. I feel someone running. Me? No. Whoever is carrying me. Clementine. You've done no human testing, Flo. What if... Whoever speaks the words sounds terrified. It's ready, someone else says. They sound confident, almost ridiculously so. It's been ready for weeks. It will work. Flo, are you sure about this? Someone whispers. I will not let my sister die, another voice calls out. A gasp rips from my lips when I'm laid down on a hard, flat surface. Something sloshes. Squishes? That sound shouldn't exist. My body shouldn't be making it. And the pain that accompanies it is a tidal wave that washes over me. The entire world muffles to the hum of the universe. Everything is black. The darkness feels warmer, more comforting. I feel it enveloping me more by the second. I want to rush to it, to speed it up so the pain will end. But it is coming for me quick enough. I just have to wait for it to consume me. And just as it stands before me, just before it swallows me entirely, there is a sharp prick in my chest. It's cold, painful, but the sensation is barely a whisper against the gaping, ruined mess of my stomach. I barely register that anything happened before the real pain starts. It hits my bloodstream like an invasion, a foreign force slamming into me, rewriting me from the inside out. My veins turn to fire, my body rejecting the substance, trying to expel it, fight it off. But it's too late. The moment the dark liquid disperses, I feel it burrowing deep, merging with my cells, seizing control. A violent, gut-wrenching spasm overtakes me, my back arching off the table so sharply I hear something in my spine pop. Every muscle in my body locks, tightens, twists, and then I'm splitting apart. I don't know if I'm screaming. I don't know if I'm breathing. All I know is fire. Not a distant burn, not something I can endure. This is hell incarnate, setting every fiber of my being ablaze. My blood isn't blood anymore. It's molten lava, coursing, pulsing, churning. My nerves ignite, sending signals so intense my body doesn't know whether to seize or thrash. I can feel my skin boiling from the inside out, the tissue beneath swelling, bubbling, warping. I try to move, to roll, to claw at my skin to make it stop, but my muscles are locked, stiff as stone. My bones feel like they're cracking apart, splintering as something new forces its way through them. And then, the tearing. My body splits. My stomach, already wrecked by Giovanni's blade, rips open again from the inside. My ribs widen, snap, and then they regrow. My organs, my ruined intestines, they liquefy, dissolve into something unrecognizable, only to reform. Everything inside me is reshaping itself. I can't tell where I begin and end. Seconds, minutes, hours, days, years. I am the acid. The acid is me. It breaks me down until there is no difference between us. I exist in this pain. I am the pain. Every cell of my body is in flux, breaking apart, remaking itself. My spine lengthens, twisting until I feel my vertebrae separate, stretch, fuse. My fingers curl into claws, my nails splitting, falling off, regrowing sharper, thicker. There is no pause, no mercy, no moment to breathe. My jaw unhinges with a sickening crack, my teeth falling loose, rattling against my tongue, before new ones shove through my gums, cutting, tearing their way into place. I feel every single one. My lungs collapse and then reform, gasping for air. My heart stutters, then stops. Finally, after what has to be an eternity, the pain vanishes. Stillness. I hover in a space of perfect nothingness. No pain, no movement, no weight, no sound, just balance. There is a thump in my chest. I take a breath. It's slow. It's deep. Another thump in my chest. This feeling. Everything inside me aligns, my body settling into something unshakable, untouchable. My skin hums with a quiet, absolute strength. The deep ache in my stomach is gone. My limbs feel light, effortless, liquid and steel all at once. This is what it means to be whole. I could stay here forever. I want to stay here forever. Lana, a tentative voice asks. No, leave me be. I don't want to leave this space where everything feels so perfect, so crystalline, so complete. But then, a spark. My body roars back to life. I gasp, sharp, deep, dragging in air that floods me with sensation. It tastes different. Sound rushes into my ears, crystal clear. Two people shift nervously across the space. Heartbeats again, two of them. No, dozens of them, coming from scattering tiny creatures. I can hear dozens of conversations happening above. I hear the rush of an elevator. And outside, I hear the bustle of traffic. Lana? Florence asks nervously. My eyes flash open, and in painful, clear detail, I stare at the ceiling of Florence's vampiric research lab. The world flares red, and I am starving. The end of Book 2. This has been Vicious and Volatile by Keary Taylor, narrated by Jesse Elwin. Thank you for listening.